Shedeur Sanders hosted an event for Cleveland community after fire tragedy. Despite an up-and-down offseason that included a draft slide, a quarterback competition, speeding tickets, and an ESPYs roast, Cleveland Browns rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders has not lost sight of one of the goals he set when he got drafted. That promise was to help out the local Cleveland community, and Sanders has fulfilled it more than once. After dozens of families were displaced from their Cleveland area apartments following an explosion, Sanders helped host the Garden Valley Fun Fest. The event brought free food trucks, haircuts, and activities to a community that desperately needed a distraction. Sanders heard the tragic news on social media and knew he wanted to help. When everything transpires, I was out of town, so I was like, nah. The first thing I do when I get back is definitely come to the comedy scene, Sanders told ABC News 5 Cleveland. This is just off an Instagram DM. I was like, dang, that's crazy. And I just wanted a day for everybody to get out here and have some type of enjoyment, excitement, bring the family atmosphere back. Sanders could have donated to a fund, like many athletes of his stature would do, but instead, it was important to him to show up for the community and go above and beyond to show his support. The former Colorado quarterback continues to show his character since becoming a Brown. In the spring, just a few weeks after he was drafted, Sanders visited Cleveland High School and spoke to students about being a professional athlete. He also hosted a workout for high school football players that made the day for several kids. For Colorado fans who have seen Sanders in and around the Boulder community over the past 2 years, this should come as no surprise. However, Cleveland fans are now experiencing firsthand the level of community engagement Sanders is involved in. On a humid July afternoon, the city of Cleveland, still reeling from the recent fire that devastated dozens of families on the city's east side, found an unexpected source of hope. College football star Shedeur Sanders, known nationally as the dynamic quarterback at the University of Colorado and son of NFL legend Deion Sanders, Shedeur had a different mission that weekend. Rather than preparing for another high-stakes game or a media appearance, he came to Cleveland with a heart full of purpose. When news of the 5-alarm fire that engulfed a row of apartment complexes reached him, Shedeur felt an immediate pull. Though not from Cleveland himself, he had trained with youth camps in the area, met local fans, and recognized the passionate energy of the city. This wasn't just another tragedy in the news. To him, it was personal. When you've got a platform, Shedeur told reporters, you've got a responsibility. These people matter. Their stories matter. And so, within a matter of days, what began as a quiet intention to donate supplies turned into something far more powerful. A full-scale community event hosted by Shedeur Sanders himself under the name Cleveland Strong, Rise from the Ashes. The event, more than a gathering, the event took place in the parking lot of John Hay High School, which quickly transformed into a vibrant oasis of healing and unity. Tents lined the perimeter, some offering hot meals and fresh produce, others stacked with donated clothing, hygiene kits, and toys for displaced children. The Cleveland Orchestra had even sent a quartet to perform soothing music, while local artists created murals on site depicting scenes of resilience and rebirth. At the heart of it all was Shedeur, not behind a podium or protected by security, but walking among the families, kneeling beside children, drawing with sidewalk chalk, and listening to the elderly share stories of loss and survival. One such woman, Miss Evelyn Carter, 78, had escaped her apartment barefoot, clutching only a photo album. Shedeur listened as she flipped through its water-damaged pages, eyes misty. These moments, he later told a local station, are why I'm here. Not for the cameras, for her. For every person who lost more than things, they lost pieces of their lives. A night to remember. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the event transitioned from recovery to celebration. Shedeur had arranged for surprise appearances from other college athletes and even a few NFL players who had quietly flown in to show support. There was a short flag football game with local youth, emceed by none other than Shedeur himself, who wore a custom jersey with Cleveland across the chest. Then came the most emotional moment of the night. Standing on a temporary stage with flickering candles behind him, each one representing a family affected by the fire, Shedeur took the microphone. Cleveland, I didn't grow up here, but today I feel like this city is a part of me. Tragedy may have touched us, but it didn't break us. Behind the stage, a massive screen lit up. Shedeur had collaborated with local organizations and surprise donors, to announce that every displaced family from the fire would receive temporary housing vouchers, transportation assistance, and access to mental health support, paid for in part by a fundraising drive he had quietly launched just days earlier. The crowd erupted, more than an athlete. The next morning, local headlines didn't focus on stats or draft prospects. Instead, they told the story of a young man using his influence to uplift, not perform. More than an athlete, read the Cleveland Plain Dealer. Shedeur Sanders shows heart of a champion. But perhaps the most meaningful recognition came from the youngest attendees. Kids who had only seen Shedeur on TV or video games were now running around in donated jerseys with his number, shouting his name with joy, not just admiration. One boy, 9-year-old Jordan Simmons, summed it up best. He made me feel like a superhero could be real. Lasting impact. In the weeks that followed, the Cleveland Strong Initiative evolved into a long-term recovery partnership thanks to connections Shedeur had helped forge between city leaders and national sponsors. A community center damaged in the fire received a grant for rebuilding, job fairs were organized, trauma counselors were brought in for schools. While Shedeur had already returned to training camp, preparing for the upcoming college football season, he stayed connected, checking in via video calls, surprising kids with signed gear, and continuing to fundraise through his foundation.